You have a tin lunchbox, dented on one corner, bought at 22. 12 years later, you still use it. Not because you can't afford a new one. You could have afforded one for years. You just never saw the point. This morning, you parked at the far end of the lot. The spot nobody fights for. Walked in carrying the same dented box you've carried every day since. Nobody at the office knows the real number in your account. They just see the lunchbox, and they guess wrong. Day 1. Same offer letter, same morning. You and Holt both start at the same medical device company in Tulsa. Same role, same training group, same number on the paycheck, $3,140 a month after tax. You find a room to rent, shared kitchen, thin walls, a landlord named Otis who fixes things slowly. Holt finds a one-bedroom across town, says he's done sharing a kitchen with strangers. Neither choice is wrong yet. It's day 1. You buy a lunchbox at a hardware store on the way home. Tin, dented already from sitting under a shelf, $2.40 on clearance. You don't think about it twice. The bank opens 2 accounts that week, yours and Holt's. Same starting balance, 0 history, 0 risk profile. To the system, you are identical. 2 names on a spreadsheet, same income bracket, same blank slate. It doesn't know you yet. It doesn't know Holt either. You set up a transfer, $200 automatic, the day after payday. You don't pick a number that hurts, you pick a number you won't notice missing. Holt doesn't set up anything. Not yet. He says he'll start once he's settled in. Most people say that. Most people mean it. The first paycheck lands. You feel something that isn't excitement. Just relief. The kind that doesn't announce itself. Sunday you grab a rotisserie chicken from Costco, $7. Eat off it for 3 days. Holt orders delivery twice that same weekend. Nothing has happened yet. The gap isn't a gap yet. It's just a decision, made quietly, that hasn't had time to compound. $200 a month, moving before you can feel it leave. That's the whole beginning. There's nothing dramatic about it. There never is at the start. 11 months in, the raise comes through. $640 more a month. Not huge, but real. Holt gets the same bump. Same department, same review cycle, same percentage. He starts eating out 4 days a week. Chick-fil-A on Tuesday, wings on Thursday, a new phone case that lights up when it rings. None of it is reckless. Each thing is small, each thing feels earned. You bump your transfer from $200 to $640. The whole raise is gone before you see it in your checking. You don't feel like you're sacrificing anything. The bank sends both of you a letter that month, pre-approved credit line, $2,000. No collateral required. Same letter, same font, same offer. The system still can't tell you apart, not yet. It's only looking at income and tenure, and on paper, you and Holt are still the same person. Here's the strange part. The difference between you two isn't visible anywhere official. Not on a credit report, not on a bank statement, not in a single number a stranger could pull up. It only exists in what happens to the money after it lands. You notice Holt seems lighter that month, talks more in the break room, laughs easier. You don't say anything about your own account. $640 a month doesn't look like anything from the outside. It just sits there, quiet, doing nothing anyone would notice. A raise spent feels like arriving somewhere. A raise invested doesn't feel like anything at all. That's the whole trick of it, and almost nobody warns you which one is actually working. By year 3, your truck has a name nobody asked for, a 2011 Tacoma. Cloth seats. A keychain worn smooth from your thumb running over it every morning. An orange Home Depot bucket rattling around in the bed, half full of tools you keep meaning to organize. Holt leases a new SUV. Blacked out. $680 a month, 36 months, then another lease after that. He shows it off in the lot the first week. People gather around it, someone whistles. Nobody gathers around the Tacoma. That's fine, you didn't buy it to be looked at. Marcus runs the regional office now. He's the one who signs off on expense reports, on travel, on who gets considered for the district lead role. He doesn't say anything about either vehicle. He doesn't have to. Here's what happens at the bank. Somewhere neither of you can see it happening. Holt's auto loan gets logged. His debt-to-income ratio shifts, not by much. Just enough to register. Your file doesn't move. No new debt, no new lines. Same steady deposit every 2 weeks, like clockwork. The system starts forming an opinion, slowly, quietly, without telling either of you. It's not just your balance that's growing or shrinking, it's your shape, in someone else's eyes, a bank's, a lender's, a system built to sort people before it ever meets them. You're being sorted right now. So is Holt. Neither of you gets to see the sorting happen. A new car loses 10% of its value the moment it leaves the lot, almost 20 by the end of year 1. Holt's SUV is already worth less than what he owes on it. Your Tacoma sits in the lot, paid off 3 years ago, worth almost exactly what it was worth last year. The $680 Holt sends out every month, you send a number close to that into a plain index fund instead. Run that forward to 65 at an ordinary market return, and that monthly difference turns into something over $1,300,000. Not from a bonus, not from a lucky pick, from the gap between a payment and a transfer, repeated for decades. You don't know that number yet. Not exactly, you just know the truck still runs, and you're not thinking about it. The decision that matters the most is usually the one you stop noticing first. Holt and his wife bought the house in the 6th year. Good school district, an island in the kitchen. The kind of place you picture when someone says they made it. The mortgage eats 40% of their take-home pay. Then closer to half, once taxes and insurance and a new water heater get added in. You're still in the same 3-bedroom rental. Gutters that need cleaning. A landlord who fixes things slowly, same as always. You get invited to dinner. You go. The kitchen is bright. Too bright, almost. The kind of light that makes everything look staged. Holt's wife serves the meal. A store-brand cereal box sits on the counter the next morning. You notice on your way out. 4,000 square feet, and somehow the cereal is the cheap kind. Nobody mentions money at dinner. Not once. The conversation moves around it the whole night, careful, like stepping around a hole in the floor everyone already knows is there. 2 years later, Holt tries to refinance. Rates have moved, and he wants to lower the payment. The bank pulls his file. Debt-to-income ratio is too high. Application denied. Around the same time, your bank sends you a letter. Pre-qualified mortgage rate, should you ever want one. Lower than what Holt is paying right now on a smaller loan with a longer history behind it. You didn't ask for that letter. It just arrived, based on 12 years of a number moving the same direction every 2 weeks without exception. The house isn't the problem. A house is just a house. The problem is what the payment requires every single month, whether the month was good or not. Holt owns something beautiful. He is also, by most honest measures, broke. Just broke with granite countertops. You own less square footage and more room to breathe. On the balance sheet, his house looks like a success, and your rental looks like falling behind. The bank's spreadsheet says the opposite, and the bank's spreadsheet is the one that actually decides what happens next. Gate C14. Boarding Group 3. You're standing in line for a flight home, ticket already paid in full, the same week you booked it. People have stopped asking about the truck by now. The lunchbox is still dented. Same one from year 1. You've just learned to ignore the looks it gets at the break room microwave. But you're not cheap. That word never fit, even if people reached for it. You're flying home for your mother's 60th birthday. Didn't think twice about the ticket. Bought the REI boots last month too, the kind that cost more upfront and last 15 years instead of 2. The difference isn't the dollar amount, it's what the money is for. Holt opens a second credit card that year. The sign-up bonus is good, 60,000 points if he spends $4,000 in 3 months. He hits the target. Barely. He also signs up for a buy now pay later plan on a new couch. 0 interest for 12 months. He doesn't write down when the 12 months end. Nobody does, usually. The bank's models don't just track how much debt Holt carries, they track the pattern of it. Revolving balances, new accounts opened in short windows, minimum payments that drift later each cycle. Your file shows almost none of that. No revolving balance. No new accounts. A flight was purchased and paid off in the same month it was posted. To a lending algorithm, those 2 spending habits don't look like a lifestyle difference. They look like risk and non-risk. You don't know the term for what you're doing. You just know that paying for your mother's birthday flight in full feels different than carrying a balance into a new year. One kind of spending leaves you with the money. It's gone, and that's fine. It bought something real. The other kind leaves a shadow behind, a balance, a minimum payment, a small math problem that resets every 30 days and never fully closes. You spend freely on the things that don't come back to find you later. You just don't spend on the things that do. 10 years in, something strange happens. You stop fitting anywhere. The account isn't small anymore. Index funds, automated for a decade, are sitting at a number that would surprise people who've only ever seen the lunchbox. You don't talk about it. Not at work. Not with your brother, who's 3 months behind on a car payment and doesn't need to hear about compounding. At the Walmart self-checkout one Sunday, the scanner glitches on your order. A woman in line behind you, a stranger, leans over and taps her card before you can stop her. "It's fine," she says. "Looked like you were having a rough week." You let her. Don't correct her. Just say thanks and walk out with $11 worth of groceries you didn't need help paying for. That's the trade nobody mentions. The richer you get quietly, the easier it becomes for everyone around you to get the story wrong. A few weeks later, Holt's phone buzzes during lunch. A Venmo request from a guy on the warehouse floor, $40, covering me till Friday. Holt sends it without blinking. He's done it 3 times this year. You're sitting across from him, brokerage app still open on your phone from checking it that morning. He glances over, just for a second. "How do you always seem so calm about money?" he asks. You don't really answer. You shrug, say something about not thinking about it much, and change the subject. He doesn't push. But something in his face shifts, like he's doing math he doesn't have the numbers for. You eat lunch out of the dented tin box, same as you did at 22, except now it isn't because you have to. It's just the only version of yourself you know how to be in public. Subject: organizational restructuring. Action required. The email hits inboxes at 9:02 a.m. on a Tuesday. A list of names is attached. Yours is on it. So is Holt's. Same department, technically by now. Different titles, same parent division, same severance package. 6 weeks pay calculated using the same formula for everyone in the room. 12 years, and it comes down to the same envelope on the same morning. You read it twice, then you close the laptop and make coffee. Holt calls you an hour later. His voice has a pitch to it you haven't heard before. He's already pulling up job boards, already drafting messages to recruiters he hasn't talked to in years. You ask if he's okay. He says he has to be. Here's what neither of you can see happening in the background while you're both sitting with the same news. Your bank flags the change in deposit pattern within a week. No incoming paycheck, same account, 12 years of history behind it. A relationship banker calls. Not a script. An actual person asking if everything's all right, mentioning there's no rush on anything, your accounts are in good standing. Holt's bank sends a different kind of message. An automated notice about an upcoming minimum payment, due regardless of employment status. 2 of his cards are close to a usage threshold that affects his score either way. Same week. Same kind of institution. 2 completely different conversations, based on a decade that most people never think to measure. Holt takes the first offer that calls back. It pays less than what he was making. He doesn't have room to wait for something better. The obligations don't pause just because the income did. You get 2 calls within the first month. You turn down both. Not out of pride, just math. The cushion you built without noticing gives you something Holt doesn't have right now. Time. You take a 3rd offer in week 9. Better role, better pay. You picked it because it was right, not because it was first. Same layoff, same morning, same envelope. 12 years of an invisible difference, and on one ordinary Tuesday, it became the only thing that mattered. The dent in your lunchbox is the same dent from the hardware store, 12 years old by now. You still don't think about it. You just keep packing it. Years pass. You don't track exactly how many anymore. 2 dinner tables exist now in 2 different houses, and neither kid sitting at them knows the other one exists. At Holt's table, money gets quiet sometimes, then loud, then quiet again. Not a crisis. Just a current underneath things. There, then gone, then back. His kids learn to read the room before anyone says a word. They'll carry that radar their whole lives. Nobody hands it to them on purpose. It just gets absorbed, the way everything does at that age. At your table, the conversation is different. Not richer in tone, just steadier. The word investing comes up the same way weather does. Casual. Unremarkable. Your kid asks once what a raise is, and you explain it the way you'd explain anything else, plainly, without the weight you used to carry around the subject yourself. You don't lecture. You're not trying to build anything in them on purpose, but they're watching anyway. Kids always are. They watch you pack the same lunch you've packed for 20 years, even now, even though they know. Because they've seen the accounts eventually, the way kids eventually see everything, that you don't need to. They don't ask why. It just looks normal to them. The ceiling you spent your 20s and 30s pushing against. The one that came from not knowing, not having anyone to ask, not seeing what was possible until you were already deep into figuring it out, alone. That ceiling isn't there for them. They'll never feel it. They won't know it was ever a thing some people had to climb out from under. You didn't plan that part. Nobody really does. You just kept doing the same small thing long enough for long enough people that it turned into something with its own gravity. Somewhere in Tulsa right now, someone is 22 years old. First day, new badge, a lunchbox they just bought at a hardware store, the cheap kind, the kind with a dent already in one corner from sitting too long under a shelf. They don't think about the dent. They just pack their lunch and head to the parking lot. There's a truck near the back, older, paid off, nobody looking at it twice. There's an SUV near the front, new, and somebody is already talking about the lease. The 22-year-old doesn't know yet which one they'll end up parking next to in 12 years. Nobody does on day one. People think wealth starts the day you buy something expensive. Most of the time it starts the day you stop needing to prove anything.